Sorry, yeah.
It's 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Rissi.
Here.
Trustee Northbrook.
Here.
Supervisor Westmarks.
Here.
Treasurer Corstange.
Here.
Trustee Nordyke. Clerk Slater present.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion or discussion for approval of tonight's agenda?
Shipley makes a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Shipley, supported by Trustee Rissi to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Article 4, approval of the Township Board meeting minutes from May 27th. Motion or discussion?
Move to approve.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Rissi, supported by Trustee Shipley. Article 5, we have two presentations this evening. First, sorry, contested vote on approval of the Township Board minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Article 5 presentations, we have two tonight. One from the Kent County Sheriff's Office and then two from the Kent District Library. We're getting updates on recent happenings with both of those. Jay, do you want to say anything before you turn it over?
No, we have members from the Sheriff's Office here tonight.
They presented to the DDA 2 weeks ago and have a really interesting program that they're rolling out countywide, and I thought it was appropriate for you all to hear it, especially in light of some of the activities on 28th Street in other areas of the township. So I'll turn it over to the deputies.
Good evening. Thanks for having us back. We're excited to be here. Quick introduction of the team I brought with me tonight. All the way on the left, Lieutenant Bill Marks. Next to him, Nick Luinga, and then you guys know Zach Jackson. So I want to talk to you tonight about the Kent Safety Network. Very exciting program that has been kind of under construction for about 18 months now. And I'm going to spend about 30 seconds on kind of the origin story of the program. It actually comes on the tail end of an ARPA grant that came in way under budget. So we were left over with some funds to enhance our ability to respond to schools and emergencies. So we installed a physical police radio in every single school building in Kent County. That radio has a big orange button on it, you punch it in an emergency, and you can just have an open mic to tell the dispatcher what's going on. We know that schools get really overwhelmed with 911 calls when emergencies happen there. So communication was the first problem we were trying to solve, and then on the heels of that, the question was how do we further optimize our response to school? And the answer was by pulling in the video streams to get that real-time picture of what's happening in that school at that moment. So before just a few years ago, the technology to do that was it either didn't exist or it was just far too expensive to kind of go down that path. We're happy to say that that technology exists today, and it's really the technology that sits as the backbone of the Kent Safety Network, and it allows for additional partnerships to happen throughout the community, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So this is really about modernizing emergency response to incidents, and it's this idea of sharing responsibility with one another in a collaborative approach to garner safety in our community. And so what you'll see in the demonstration in a few minutes is you'll see a lot of existing technology that we've had for years and years and years, but it's now pulled into a single pane of glass. And that really optimizes the efficiency with which we can access this technology and these resources. But it also adds additional capability to use community resources in that same pane of glass. So you'll see schools that are pulled in, you'll see maps, you'll see police cars, body cameras, ALPRs, active incidents, and so on. We'll show that in the demo. We're kind of calling this the new neighborhood watch, and again, that's just this idea of sharing responsibility to conjure up safety. This probably most important to kind of force multiplying through technology is the conversations like this one tonight that really force some of the hard questions to be asked about the guardrails that have to be put in place around a system like this so that it's responsibly used. We've had those conversations, and we're happy to say that we've been in front of, I believe, 11 of the municipal boards, well, 10 plus a couple townships, let's call it that, of the municipal boards around the county, because this is a county-wide initiative. What we don't want is for this technology to be available to some communities and not others. So we've had to sort of do this presentation, this conversation with every single city in the county. And it's been met with resounding support. And we're just in various stages of implementation with all those municipalities. And now we're finally excited to really start paying attention to that at the township level. Couple call-outs on the technology. So this is intended to be a cost-free program. So it shouldn't cost any of our businesses anything. It shouldn't cost the township anything. There is a paid subscription option that's in the weeds. We won't talk about that tonight, but if you want more information about that, we can talk later. Security, yes, it's very secure. It's cleared all of the highest hurdles in IT technology, from medical to education. It has an audit trail, and we'll demonstrate that for you tonight. Basically, every click that you make in the software is recorded from the IP address that you make that click, the user, and then the date, time, and the number of seconds that you're actually in that particular piece of technology. We'll demonstrate that for you as well. Control, it is all in the user's hands. So this is really a program that is built on trust and the ability to share in camera streams out in the community. Really relies on us earning that trust every single day. Because the moment we start showing up in headlines for misusing this type of technology is the moment a business owner can just unplug their little piece of hardware and they're off the system completely. We don't have the ability to tap into anything or access anything that hasn't been given permission to us. So it is completely user controlled. I want to make one clarification. We can't see any residential streams whatsoever. So Nest cameras, Ring cameras, that's not a part of the system for the live streaming. However, we do provide a place for residents to go and register their cameras and say, I have a camera and I'm willing to check it for you in the event that something happens in my neighborhood. This is a huge force multiplier for us when it comes to neighborhood canvases. We can essentially draw a balloon around a group of residential cameras, send a bash message to those residents and say, hey, we're looking for a white sedan. Between these hours, there were some larcenies in your neighborhood last night. If you see any, here's a link to upload your footage. Really streamlines that neighborhood canvas function. benefits to the community, stronger public safety, of course, faster, smarter response. So you'll start to hear the term precision policing start to emerge, I think, in public safety conversations. And this is just the idea that because we're taking in more information at the call time itself, we're able to deploy the resources that we need more specifically to an area. An example of that is maybe we get a 911 call, it's a chaotic situation, the caller hangs up. We're able, and maybe in that instance we have cameras in the area, we're able to see that everybody's left the scene, they've gone northbound, and now we can direct our resources that way and maybe send a minimal amount of resources to the 911 caller's scene. Just better utilizing our resources more quickly is what's really important. So one of the examples that came up through one of these board conversations was the very top one, and that's we're going to be responding to calls for service with verified intelligence. And what I mean by that is right now we get the caller's version of events, we get their version of a description of a person, and so the officers are constantly kind of playing this game of telephone on their way to a call, saying, well, that guy looks like he's in khaki pants and a blue shirt, but I mean, his shirt's kind of more black, but they had and so it's a guessing game. So we're using time, a lot of times valuable time, to address and identify whether or not someone is or is not involved in the situation. And with this additional capability, we will have the ability to send pictures directly to the officer's screens to say, this is the person you're looking for, the person of interest. A lot of the other stuff, and I'm trying to keep this one concise. So this is some of the technology we're actually talking about, and you will see basically all of this stuff plastered in the program here in just a second. So the new addition would be the community shared video streams, and like the public safety cameras. The rest of it is technology that we've had for quite a long time now. We just had to go get it in disparate systems, which really slows things down. These are kind of the venues that we have in mind. Public spaces, of course, schools, businesses, community events, living areas. You guys have probably the largest hotel district in the county. This would be a significant benefit for your hotels. In fact, it also allows for the ability for us to upload floor plans of buildings, which is great for fire departments. Love that function. It includes multi-floor structures where the floor plan actually changes as we toggle through floors. We'll also demonstrate the ability to navigate a facility that we've never been in before. So this is really built for cops, so it had to be simple. So it will give a dispatcher or an operator the ability to identify where a problem is at and then direct those officers directly there. So previously, kind of our tactics require that if we don't know, we tactically move, and tactical movement is generally quite slow, unless we're hearing something active that we can run towards. And this again kind of clears that path so the officers can move more freely. So that's the Kent Safety Network. We are at kentsafetynetwork.org. That's a live site. It's where if you're a business, you can go to sign up for the program to get your free piece of hardware, and we walk you through all the IT stuff. And if you're a resident, you can register your camera there as well. I'm going to call up Lieutenant Mark to give us a little demonstration.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks again for having us tonight. I'll try to be very respectful of your time and go as quick as I can to still get the information out. So the captain talked about Fusus, and Fusus is the platform that we live in, that we pull all these different systems into. It looks a little bit chaotic on your screen because of all that's happening, but I'll try to walk through a lot of different icons that we're seeing right out of the gate here. So as I kind of zoom, we'll head over to the sheriff's office here, and you'll see a whole bunch of different icons. Some of the ones you see are ground body cams. Those are actual body cams that officers are wearing, so it gives us the location of where they're at. When they're blinking, it actually means they're recording, and we can watch live what they're actually recording, be it on the scene or whatever they're doing. We have camera and trailer icons. We'll probably see some of those along 28th Street at some point for bigger events, just to give us an additional set of eyes eyes in locations that don't have cameras. You have the floor plan that the captain was talking about, as I zoom in here and try to. So this is our office, and it actually lays out there in the floor plan. What's important here is the ability for us to walk through a different building, maybe not physically, but walk through it by simply looking at the map and be able to navigate where we're going using just the system if we've never been in that building before. So you can imagine being a person that's never been there. I may not know where this camera points, I may not know what entrance to use, I may not know what the third door means, or whatever the labeling is. But if my body cam is approaching this building, and someone else is using the system can help me navigate it and tell me go to the north side of the building, turn left, and go into the door you're looking at right now. So you can appreciate how that might help us in a school, in a building you're not normally in. Camera icons here, what's important about these is each one you just have to click on. We don't have to know the naming convention, we don't have to know how to label, we simply click on them. It pulls up that live stream, and a white line is drawn to tell me exactly what camera I'm looking at what time. So if I happen to see, let's say there was an event that was happening here, I saw a person in this camera, and I say, boy, I don't know where that's at, I don't know how to describe where I should send people. By hovering over that camera, I can tell them exactly where the camera is located in the building, what direction it faces, and maybe where we should send resources. So that's a little bit about Fusus and how it can be beneficial from school buildings to industrial or commercial buildings to hotels, all the various places that we are able to ingest cameras from. Mr. Vogel is one of our newer Connecticut customers. He has mug cakes out on 28th Street, or nothing mug cakes. So as this loads here, he's offered to allow us to take a look at his building. Now, we're not going to enter the cameras, obviously. This is a live system. It wouldn't be appropriate to display what's going on in the story at this second. But in the event of an emergency, you can appreciate how I've never been in that building, but I could easily get through there if someone would watch my body cam and help me navigate where I need to go. So along 20th Street corridor, the more businesses that we have pulled in, the more cameras we can navigate through. Let's say an event was occurring moving down 20th Street, we can go from business to business as needed. Look at the parking lot cameras and hopefully respond more efficiently to a situation like that. So that's a little bit about Fusus. We do want to talk about the audit trail real quick. So as Captain mentioned, every click that we make in the system is recorded. It's recorded by user, it's recorded by exactly what camera we entered, how long we were there, what IP address we accessed it from. There is nothing you can do in the system that's not recorded. So in the event that a business wanted to partner with us and wanted to know who was in their cameras last month, it's a simple call. We're happy to print this log and send it over. We want to be accountable for every click we make. We want to make sure that we're using the system responsibly. So there is no way around this. We're happy to say that we're willing to give that to any partner that has this way. As far as the Kent Safety Network, this is a quick look at our website. We'll touch on this briefly. Captain mentioned the website in the beginning. There is an introductory video kind of outlining what this system does and how it works. It's about 5 minutes. If you have time later on, I'm going to take a look at it. It's really kind of cool.
Let me just add something. You might see a local, like Hollywood actor in there.
You did an excellent job.
Rishi started on it.
I know I went through that really quickly. Any questions about Fusus or what the system's capabilities are before we move forward? Yes.
So when you say somebody will be navigating, is that dispatch that does that? Or do you have a separate team that is continuously monitoring the system for you and helping you guys?
It's a great question. So it's kind of a multifaceted approach. In the real-time intelligence center, we will have people watching this system on a regular basis. We won't necessarily be in cameras unless we need to be. but we will have the system up and running. Dispatch does have access to it, and each deputy in their cruiser also has access to it.
Is the real-time incident center, I'm sorry, what you just said,
Intelligence center, yes, it is.
is that new then?
Yeah, it's about 18 months old, from concept to now. It's really just a larger room, a lot of televisions, different sources of information we pull in, put up in one big area. It often tends to attract a lot of command staff and different decision makers when big events are happening, so they can see in real time what's going on.
Is that staff 24/7?
We hope for it to be in the future, because it is a startup, we're still working through that, so no, not yet, but we hope for it to be.
Something weird came in. So I guess my question is, like, right now, nothing but cakes calls, says, hey, there's something going on out back. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm assuming most of the command people are not there at that time.
Accurate, yes. So,
Who's helping you at that point in time?
so the beauty of the system is because everybody, every sworn deputy on the street, every dispatcher, they all have access to the same system. So, there are models around the country that are leaning more toward if a deputy in the north end of the county is not busy at this moment, but here's something happening, and the person responding can't jump in and see themselves what's going on. The north end deputy would jump in, call over the radio, and help him or her respond to whatever they're going to, in addition to the dispatch having access. Your question?
I have a question. At scenes of emergency, you frequently set up command post with the fire department and other first responders. And did you mention that the pre-plans, fire department pre-plans could also be loaded into this?
We haven't made as far as pre-plans. Well, we do have 4 plans. Pre-plans are going to be a little bit different, but the system is scalable. At some point in the future, I'm not sure when that would be, depending on how it goes out. But could there be a possibility of pulling in different things for fire personnel or medical personnel? Absolutely.
Especially in situations where there may be hazmat or other hazards like that.
It's a great idea. We do, I didn't go into a school setting just because obviously the privacy of the school is pretty important. But there is an MOU layer, and I'll have that real quick and just show you that layer. The MOU layer is because most schools will allow us to view their exterior cameras a little more freely than the interior. The interior is certainly something that they want to be an active 911 call, an active incident, something of great importance before we access the interior cameras. So a lot of times you'll see the exterior cameras live on the screen. The interior ones won't pop up until we click on that location, and you see the red MOU in place icon. That's to warn the deputies, to tell them these cameras are restricted. You don't go in here unless you need to be here. You have to have a reason to be here. So we could very easily have another layer for a business or a location with hazmat or any number of things. Great idea. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I was at a county meeting recently, and they another community, and they were discussing this, and they also talked about some other technologies that you guys are rolling out in the future, and it's just really reassuring, I guess, as a citizen to be in a county that is being proactive on these things. And while technology can be scary at times, it's it's good to see you guys have safeguards in place, and you're doing this what appears to be the right way. As a business owner, there have been many times in the past where I would have loved for the sheriff's office to have access to my cameras because it would streamline the process. So I like it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. A lot of topic in technology. Give it a shot. So we're gonna try to give you a demonstration of our drone. We're getting the weather outside in the way. We'll have to see.
So I just want to drill down on a couple things Bill mentioned. Number one, generally speaking, the ask from businesses is exterior cameras.
Can you guys please try to speak a little bit more into the mic?
That's generally
Thank you.
more, what our ask is going to be. Interior cameras do suit some business types better than others, including convenience stores, 24-hour locations, locations that are prone to break-ins. Those can be really handy to have interior cameras available. But it's not generally the ask. Usually we're looking at public spaces that where a police officer could put their boots and not violate someone's privacy rights. So that's kind of number one. But like hotels, for example, that are obviously 24/7, there's an absolute utility to that use case. How you doing? We'll check the weather. So Nick is going to show us our DFR program. So we currently have 3 drone docks around the county, and we are taking delivery on 4 more. And these allow us the opportunity to respond to calls for service in the air. And so what we're seeing is actually that about 9 times out of 10, the drone will beat a ground unit to a call for service almost every single time. A new metric that we'll be tracking is virtual on-scene time. Virtual on-scene time is just getting there with a drone and getting eyes on a situation. We did have a situation not long ago where an individual, it was a domestic strangulation case. The guy fled the residence and he was hiding in the woods. We were able to launch this drone here, locate him in the woods, and he actually kind of broke free from his hiding place and was on the move again. We brought the drone in down behind him, and he actually surrendered to the drone, which was the first time that's ever happened. Officers were not far away, and they were able to just take him into custody peacefully. So you can see he's about to launch. This is on the roof of Cutlerville Fire Station. These are mostly weatherproof. You can see a picture of the drone there. Now we do have safeguards in place for this program as well, and one of those is we always fly with the camera on the horizon to and from a call for service. So we're not looking down in the backyards. The camera is going to be up on the horizon. Now for demonstration purposes, I'm going to have Nick fly somewhere and then point the camera down, and you'll see it actually has an augmented reality overlay on the screen. Now this is a total game changer for us because as you can imagine, trying to walk ground units into whatever you're looking at and not knowing what street it is or what group of trees it is or the address number is very, very difficult. So he can essentially we already got wire call. So that's a wire call, that red triangle. He can technically click on that, click fly here, it can go get eyes on that situation. You want to fly over there? The top speed is right around 40 miles an hour. We do burn quite a bit of battery at that speed. Flight time, we try for around 30 minutes. We only had it one time where we had to land so much right. Didn't make it back. Learning curve on all this stuff, right?
Where do you keep them? Are there 3 right now?
Yeah, so there's only 2 of the 3 are installed. There's going to be one in Comstock, right downtown Comstock by the Italians there. There's this Cutlerville drone, and then the 4 additional, we're going to be working with Zach and kind of, we can basically run a simulation with our calls for service where it plots it on a map and see kind of a heat map of where these calls are coming in. Generally, we try to stay within about a 3-mile radius of the dock. Is the most kind of effective range. Yeah. So we'll take it home. You'll get another. Generally, these are rated for about 25-mile-an-hour winds. We're probably pushing that limit just a little bit.
They have night vision.
Yeah, yep, there is a thermal. You can toggle over to that. And you can see the dock is probably the warmest thing on the roof right now. So it will orient itself to those little QR codes and bring itself into land.
How will that work when there's snow on those?
So that's actually a great question. The early docks did not handle a snow load very well at all. They actually wouldn't open. So they've actually mitigated that. So it'll just kind of dump the snow on our surface. So it lands, it does its own little inspection, and the lid rolls back over it, and now we'll start charging up for the next one. Thanks. That's the bulk of what we have for you guys tonight. As I said earlier, the invitation is always open to come out and see the River Intelligence Center. That's very much more, as Bill said, more of a command and control room, but it's been of immense value for us to have command staff that can actually get eyes on the incident right away. In fact, we had an officer involved shooting that was caught on camera, on body cam, and we watched the whole thing happen live. You can imagine how much more impactful it is for the sheriff to arrive on that scene, not being told what happened, but actually having seen what happened. So it's a great room to kind of just continue to orient your minds around some of this technology, and yeah, happy to answer any questions.
If I can just add to something he alluded to earlier, Captain had mentioned that there's another program that's a little bit elevated from this, where actually there's a cost to it for some businesses to participate. When they came and presented to the DDA, there was overwhelming support for this, and it's something that the DDA might help sponsor for our businesses that are in the district. So if they don't have cameras currently and want to participate, they'll work with the sheriff's office to obtain a camera, but then it will be on the system, and the DDA will sponsor that. So we're considering that, working on that, and the DDA is going to take that up in July again.
City of Grand Rapids Police.
Yeah.
Support for them as well.
Yeah, so that has been the intent from the beginning, that every law enforcement agency in the county has the same access to this platform. We like to be unique in Kent County, and so there's not actually the functionality for Axon devices to show up on our map. But the good news is everybody in Kent County is on Axon. So we're told late 2026, other agencies will populate that map with, because all you saw tonight was county units. Other agencies will come on later this year, and we'll roll this platform out at every single agency. We do have a steering committee that's made up of every agency in Kent County, and they help it.
You're all on board with.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much. And then next we have Lulu Brown, our district manager for Kent District Library, with her update. Thank you for coming tonight as well.
I'm Lowell Brown. It's been a while since I just want to start off by saying thank you for the opportunity to share with you on the Cascade Library. You will see our leadership team and board member come back at some point later this year for the official media update, but I'll give you a little bit tonight. Before I get a little too far into tonight's update, I will note that we had on the same page last night, everything I roll right now with 10,000 people, so everything that I'm saying is pre-written because I don't trust myself to not see the script. Oh, thank you. So nobody needs me improvising tonight. I really want to begin by grounding us in where we are right now as a community asset with the Cascade Township. This past month has continued to show that the investment in the expanded and renovated library space is not only being utilized, but actively driving increased engagement across every major service area that we have in the library. In May, we saw our physical circulation reach over 28,000 items. That's a 60% increase compared to where we were last year. So we're seeing a strong return. We're also seeing our renewals increasing by 44%, and about 67,000 people have walked into this library's doors this year. In May alone, even with the ransomware attack and our limitations with public computers and printing services, we still saw 11,000 people come in. And printing is one of our most popular services that adults come in for. These aren't just incremental increases. They do reflect sustained demand for library services in a community that continues to embrace the renovation. For many visitors that are coming back this summer, returning for the first time, what you can often hear in the mornings is, wow. What they're responding to isn't just simply new furniture new finishes, or what feels like a larger building, even though we've just reworked some walls. The vision behind the refresh was to create a library that reflects the creative spirit, rich history, and the connectedness that makes Cascade such a special place to live. Libraries do have the unique privilege of serving people throughout their entire lives. So whether it's a kid that's getting their first library card, or the lifelong learning opportunities, and even the community connections that people have later in life, like the Tuesday Mahjong events that the township hosts. The renovated space was intentionally designed to support all of those unique journeys and to create a welcoming place where every resident can see themselves reflected in a library. To see the layout in action, you only had to be here last month. There was a DDA meeting in the Wisner Center, a lecture from a Vietnam nurse in what we call the living room area in front of that fireplace. We had teens studying for exams and adults in all the different private rooms and study pods, all using the library for very different needs. Perhaps our best compliment that we received came in the form of a complaint. One patron told me, libraries should not exist anymore because nobody's here. After giving them a little bit of space to share their thoughts, I walked back into the youth area and there was more than 60 people, making a lot of noise. Ironically, what that experience highlighted was one of the renovation's biggest successes. That new wall has created a sound separation that many patrons have been requesting since we came back from COVID. Allowing families to learn and play in that wonderland space while also allowing other visitors to enjoy quieter spaces through the library. Beyond our walls, we continue to do outreach. My staff went to 13 outreach events serving almost 1,000 community members that included school partnerships, where we served about 700 kids in our continued engagement with our partners like the Gaylord House. These efforts help to ensure access to library services isn't just dependent on transportation, mobility, or even proximity to the building. We're also continuing to prioritize food access through partnerships, which has been identified as a core need from our patrons. We do provide 15 locations are providing free weekday lunches to children and teens, as well as through our bookmobile stops. This program does help to ensure the library remains a stable point of access for both learning and basic needs during the summer months. So what's next? KDL is entering our strategic planning process for 2027 to 2028. On that cart outside, I have brought quite a few free resources. If you'd like to get involved in the strategic plan process, or even if you just want to know what we have available this summer, that also includes anyone who's in the audience. We are offering some free Millennial Park passes, which are good for 2 adults and 4 kids to go and just enjoy some fun this summer. Now, summer is our Super Bowl. It is our busiest time. And what you'll see on that card out there is a calendar that not only reflects the scale, but also the variety of what is unique to this branch. Once again, we're entering our highest demand season, so we do have programs that sometimes will attract more than 700 people in this building. Beyond that, we offer a variety, whether it's the large programs like Touch a Truck or Critter Barn, down to more intimate hands-on learning experiences like our KDL Lab experiences. These are intentionally designed to make sure that we are serving multiple age groups and learning styles. Other things that you can expect is we're looking at some of our donor funds that we have received this year to build new forms of engagement. That includes a temporary story walk that we've been working through with the KDL marketing department and the parks and facilities teams at the township to just encourage a little bit more interactive literacy experiences for families and reinforcing that learning does not stop at library doors. In addition, there will be a rock snake coming, which is a community art project that will launch in that Kids Discovery area. We're partnering with a local Y who we go to weekly for a summer camp outreach. And then we'll be expanding that, opening that up to patrons so they can leave a little bit of themselves at the library when they come to visit. In closing, as we're approaching 1 year since we reopened, I learned a very important lesson. Last year challenged all of us in different ways as we started to just really work to make that refresh successful. One of my own goals this year has been to prioritize my health and take time needed to recharge when necessary. Strong organizations definitely depend on healthy teams, and I'm really grateful for staff, a leadership team, the township board, and community members that are supporting that balance. This allows me to bring my best self and allows my staff to bring our best selves to Cascade every day. I want to sincerely thank the township board and the residents for Cascade for your support and your belief in the library as a place for ideas, excitement, discovery, and information. Those values remain at the heart of everything that we do. As the world continues to evolve, libraries just have to evolve with it. Our challenge is not simply to just provide books or programs, but to create a space where every resident can find something meaningful. Whether that's the opportunity to learn a new skill, explore a new idea, connect with neighbors, access reliable information, or simply enjoy a good experience. We remain committed to meeting that challenge and ensuring every library, especially the Cascade Library, continues to be a resource that reflects and serves the needs of our community. Thank you again for your time and for your ongoing partnership with the library that is becoming increasingly central to civic, educational, and cultural life in the Cascade Township. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I've got a question for you. You stated sometimes there's up to 700 people in this facility, which is fantastic. Ever run out of parking space?
Yeah.
Have you considered proposing expanding the parking spaces with a farmers community building and craft building in a nice big lot between the library and the next privately owned parcel?
Well, I'm trying to be on good behavior. I asked for a lot of stuff for the last couple of years, so.
Just put it in your want basket.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of our residents that would love to see, I know it's become a thing nowadays, a farmer's market, whether it's seasonal or enclosed and year-round. And that could benefit both the library parking and making this area more community centered.
You tell me when you want a proposal, I'll come back. Whenever you want me to come back, because that would be amazing.
We have our bosses. My bosses are out there, and
Whenever any of you want me to come back, happy to.
I've spoken my piece now.
How about Friends of the Library, any updates? I didn't realize before becoming supervisor how big of an asset they are to the library.
Doing amazing. There are 80 active volunteers. Sometimes they refer to themselves as space controls. But what they're seeing with the renovated space and their larger space, they're actually raising more money than they ever have in that Chapter 2 bookstore. So there's a few things that we still have to tackle post-refresh, and they're ready to answer the call because they've been able to raise so much more money than they're used to raising. So I'll be excited to bring some of those things forward, but they really want to see the effort of the dollars that they're raising coming right back into the community, and they're feeling really energized to move quickly on that because they want to see it. So they're very, very happy with that.
How about the outdoor space that they got the ball rolling on with their donation?
So if you were here on Friday, we had our summer winter kickoff, Magical Creatures, and unfortunately the rain came down 15 minutes into it, so we pivoted and came inside. But they love walking outside in that space. It means a lot to them that not only were we able to take all of the money they've been raising from these book sales, but to put it in action so quickly. What I still hear about Friendship Park, not just from the friends, but from other people, is such a unique project that somehow combined private funds, public funds, and grant money all together. And the fact that from the time that we dug the dirt to the time that it was a usable space, I think it was 7 or 9 months. That is insane how quickly we've been able to move on some of these things, and I'm so grateful, even though I was probably a little tired last year, but really grateful for the opportunity to show you all what we're capable of doing. So thank you so much to the board, thank you to the residents for believing in the library and for believing that we need these spaces.
Thanks, Lulu. Thanks for coming, and we very much appreciate your partnership. You did a great job. You're doing a great job. Article 6, public comments. That is on anything on tonight's agenda, which is really short and not very interesting. But anyone wants you to comment on that one agenda item, please limit your time to 3 minutes and state your name and address for record keeping.
Hi, my name is Nicole Ronda, and I am a resident of Lowell Township.
Hold on, Nicole. Are you here to talk about the tax request form for 2026?
Actually, I'm here to speak to a couple of different agenda items, including the approval of the agenda minutes from last month and the library presentation.
All right, go for it.
So, first and foremost, resident. However, my primary years were here in Cascade Township. My grandfather built a duplex on Cascade Road we moved into it when I was 8 months old. That was in 1979. So I grew up with Cascade Township and this library that literally has been amazing all those years. My mother was a reading specialist, and when she passed away in 2017, I had to come back and have a librarian, thankfully, dig out the books I had to still return, that one of the special bookmarks that she had in them. So the library, the expansion, the way we are blessed with KDL is absolutely amazing, and to see the continued innovation. I hadn't been in this building since 2017, and it just keeps getting better and better. The second thing I'd like to speak to is the approval of the agenda minutes from last month. Mr. Rissi, last month you voted wonderfully. I greatly appreciate how you voted to approve a 6-month moratorium here in Cascade for data center projects. However, I'd like the township and the residents to realize that Mr. Rissi has also agreed to sell 2 parcels of land that he owns in Lowell Township to this proposed Microsoft data center that we are fighting should it be approved. The fact that Mr. Rissi can sit here and represent the township residents, yet we have multiple Cascade Township residents that are going to be living within the affected area of that data center at our meeting on Monday night that went until 1:27 a.m. because some of us had to stand in line over 2 hours to allow our comments to be heard because that many of the public wanted to speak, with only 2 of those being for the data center, the rest all being opposed.
Thank you. There will be another opportunity for
please.
You can talk more in the second session of public comments if you want.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Article 7, approval of tonight's consent agenda. Is there discussion or a motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Motion by Treasurer Corstange, supported by Trustee Rissi to approve tonight's consent agenda. What did I say?
I did not support it.
Oh, sorry.
So that's okay. I'd be happy to support it, but I did not support it.
Gotta turn off the automatic play that I had. Supported by Trustee Shipley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Financial action, specifically invoices scheduled to be paid tomorrow. Is there a motion or discussion?
Motion to approve tonight's financial action.
Or Shipley.
You have
Motion.
if Jude has something.
Oh, excuse me.
I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention that after the last board meeting where you so kindly approved the new payment policy, that there's a new column on your accounts payable report at the end. It says check number. You'll see if it says none, that is coming back before you for approval tonight because it has not been paid yet. If there's a check number, it's an item that was paid previously due to the timeliness and it needed to be paid, but the check number is on here when it was paid and who it was paid to, so there's still transparency in the report coming before you.
There's a motion by Treasurer Corstange, supported by Trustee Shipley, to approve tonight's financial actions. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Having no unfinished business, first item and only item of new business, consider approval of the L4029 tax rate request form for 2026 and also to authorize the clerk and supervisor to sign the form as presented. Jade?
Thank you, Supervisor. I'm pinch hitting for our finance director tonight. but this is an annual action that's requested of the board. Annually, the board must certify the millage rates that'll be levied in the July and December tax bills. It's called the Form L-4029. Any jurisdiction that actually has a millage has to approve this, so the schools have to approve it, the libraries have to approve it. So you can see that our L-4029, which is prepared by the county, has been reviewed by our finance director and treasurer, is coming before you for approval. I will note that on here, because it is still in existence, and although we're not assessing it, the fire millage that is due to expire in 2027 is not being assessed, as when the last fire millage was approved, the board passed a resolution to not assess that.
For continuing to clarify that, because I think it's for residents to know that that was what we promised during that time when we talked about. Glad you point that out every year. Thank you.
Yep.
I make a motion that we approve L-4029 tax rate request form for 2026. And I'm very pleased that we've got transparency, including on the millage, so that people don't think that we're double dipping.
Support.
Any additional discussion? It's a motion by trustee Shipley, supported by trustee Rissi, to approve the form as presented, as well as the authorization to approve that form. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Having no discussion items tonight, now is the time for public comments. Whether it's on, the comment is on tonight's agenda or not, anything else. 3-minute limitation, name and address for our record keeping. Thank you.
My name is Nicole Ronda. I am a resident of Lowell Township. According to the Michigan law, I actually don't have to give my full address. Thank you. I would like to talk to you about data centers. They are a headache. Do we need regular data centers? Yes, fully. Within 25 to 30 miles of this location, there are 4 hyperscale data centers being proposed by Microsoft alone. The effect that this is going to have is far-reaching and goes way beyond any township's borders. This board has taken the wonderful step to put a pause for your borders, and I would like to commend you on that, so that you can do your research and due diligence. I live in Lowell Township, and we have not been so lucky. The thing is, what we have to remember, despite what our illustrious township supervisor says, community goes way beyond those boundaries. There is a reason that the community is working on language for a recall of him. Because we believe that Cascade is community to us. We have many Cascade residents that sat through a 6.5-hour Township Planning Commission meeting this past Monday night. Many of us were there past 1:30 in the morning. The fact that one of your township trustees has, in writing, agreed and requested a zoning variance of Lowell Township, 2 properties that they own in it, for proposed sale to Microsoft, offends me. When he can sit here and vote for this moratorium because he doesn't want it in his backyard, yet he's fine for it to be in ours. Thank you for what you are doing as taking steps to protect the community in Kent County, and I'd like to encourage you to continue to evaluate and be very critical of what big corporations will tell us or try to spin us, because what they say we've already documented is not true. Thank you.
Before I sign it, how do I get the camera going? I got some visual aids.
Hold on one sec. Did that come up on your end? There we go.
Zoom in some? No?
I don't know.
I would think a visual aid would need to be checked by staff first before it.
I can see the top of your computer, I don't see.
Literally says parcel map in Kent County at the website, I guess. So I don't-
I'm just not sure. We haven't had the visual aid before in public comments, have we?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Just makes us a little nervous because,
Okay.
not that it would be you to misuse it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like zoning, what you allow one person, you gotta allow everybody.
Well, I did it once before a few years back, but.
Oh,
okay.
sorry, I didn't remember. Scott, we'll look into it. I just,
All right. Well, Scott Rissi, and I want to begin with a misleading email sent out by trustees Rissi, Nordock, and Nordyke again. That letter presents a very one-sided view of the zoning ordinance and leaves out important context about why these tree protections are needed. Over the past two Board of Trustees meetings and the Planning Commission meeting on May 4th, I have been rebutting some of those issues, and I encourage residents to watch those meetings on the Township YouTube channel. I want to speak in support of the zoning ordinance, especially the tree protections, because we have already seen what can happen when large parcels are cleared without enough long-term accountability. At 1701 Spalding Avenue, a 32.2-acre parcel was cleared for development that never fully came to fruition, and the result was a major loss of tree cover and a permanent change to the character of that land. We have also seen damage at Egypt Creek Landscaping on Thornapple River Drive, where clearing trees affected the property and the surrounding area. That kind of impact does not stay confined to one parcel. It changes the view, the setting, and the quality of life for nearby residents, specifically the Holcombs, who have spoken up at board meetings many times about what they have had to live with since those trees were cut down. So I would ask the trustees to turn around and look at the Cascade sign behind you on the wall and notice what is pictured there besides the river. Trees! That is what we are trying to protect. The 3-acre threshold makes sense because when a parcel that large wants to clear 25% or more of its trees in a year, that is the threshold for review. It is a community issue. Trees protect neighborhoods, preserve views, and help keep development from overwhelming the natural character that makes Cascade different. I also think it is fair to ask why realtors and developers are spent so much money to put this issue on the ballot. Residents deserve to know why roughly $115,000 was spent on a referendum when the real issue is whether we want responsible development or repeated large-scale clearing with little accountability. When a new development eventually goes into the Spalding site, it should be built to county road standards with no HOA and no private roads, so future residents are not stuck with unexpected bills and long-term maintenance capital costs. In fact, a well-planned subdivision with proper public infrastructure could be more marketable and potentially sell for more because buyers would know they are not taking on unnecessary future road expenses. The concerns raised in that trustee email do not tell the full story. Residents have already seen what unchecked clearing can look like, and they have seen how long the consequences last. Requiring review before major tree removal is not anti-development, it is responsible development. If a project is going to move forward, it should be done with accountability, proper infrastructure, and respect for the people who already live nearby. That means protecting the landscape before it's destroyed, not after. One final question for you three trustees. Are you standing with the residents who make up Cascade, or are you siding with the realtors and developers who push this referendum? Because let's be clear, it was not Cascade residents who put up the vast majority of money for this campaign. The bulk of the funding came from GRAR and other realty interests that specifically backed this effort to put the issue on the ballot. Thank you.
Before I speak, the only visual I have up is my hat, which is everything common. I'll wear that another one next time too. Good evening, you know I'm Josh Jordan, you know where I live. I came out tonight because of a sense of duty to continue the conversation and participate in our township business. However, there has been a serious concern regarding transparency that has come to our attention. Professionally, you know that I teach ethics and other courses at the university level, and I've authored a book on program evaluation. Personally, I'm a retired military officer. In both of those arenas, leadership relies entirely on transparency. You cannot successfully lead a classroom, a unit, or a community if the people you lead feel kept in the dark. It is come to our attention that Scott is currently trying to sell some land in Lowell to Microsoft. Now, before Scott gets upset, selling land is perfectly legal and a right that I support. However, navigating a transaction of this magnitude with this specific developer while simultaneously debating data center policy right here in Cascade creates a significant transparency issue. As I teach my students, what is legally permissible and what is ethically best practice are often two very different things. For a public servant making decisions about a highly controversial topic, proactive disclosing any relevant financial ties is essential. Without that disclosure, we risk the appearance of a conflict of interest which inevitably cast doubt on objectivity. As I requested at previous meetings, this community needs clarity. The board members opposed to modernizing our township zoning requirements. Residents deserve to hear why on the official public record. In the spirit of true transparency, it would be reassuring to know if any professional industry ties on this board, such as backgrounds in commercial real estate, or artificial intelligence are informing those positions. This is especially important, as Scott points out, given that $100,000 in outside PAC money tied to developers and real estate interests currently are trying to influence our township. Finally, regarding the proposed subcommittee, I believe it would be limiting to allow only trustees to serve on this and would be a missed opportunity to build community trust. We need citizen voices on that committee. I am formally volunteering to serve. With my background in organizational leadership, ethics, and program evaluation, I can be an asset. True leadership requires proactive transparency. We need to be able to trust the motives of this board. We need to be able to trust that our residents come first. We need to be able to trust that public service is about community and not public interest. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Thank you, Supervisor. A couple things tonight I just want to bring everybody's attention to, which I know you probably received this at home. Everybody out there should have received this at home the last couple of weeks. But this is a postcard that has a lot of our programming on it through the Parks and Recreation Department. It's a little small for the amount of programming that we have, so I encourage the staff as the programming gets bigger that the postcard gets bigger as well. But there's a lot of good things on here, and you'll be seeing these periodically going out, promoting all the events that are the programs that we have through Parks and Facilities. One that's not on here is the addition of the pickleball. I guess they did lessons, type of forum that was wildly successful as well. That didn't make it on here. Registration was full, but just kudos to Parks and Rec for continuing to pursue that and communicating with the community so they can see all the good things that are happening. The other thing I want to bring everybody's attention to is we hear a lot about the green roof at Friendship Center and a lot of frustrations. People don't really understand that. I highly encourage anybody to take Jack Smith out of here tonight and take a look up because it is in full bloom. There's yellow flowers. I wish that the roof was turned towards 28th Street, but so I encourage everybody to take a look at that because right now I think you'll actually see the full effect of a green roof and what it can actually look like. I'm sure that the library has noticed it as well. The other thing that I would like to discuss is, I've got a few of these I'll put out, but then there's also some for the trustees, to allow for the public to come in and ask questions in regards to the zoning ballot language that will be on the ballot on August 4th. They will have the opportunity on 4 occasions to come in and talk with staff if they have questions on the ballot, on the language. I do need to preface that there is no position that's taken. Township staff is not in a position to do that. So if there are questions from residents or businesses in regards to the current zoning versus the proposed zoning, or I guess the adopted zoning that's being proposed, they'll have an opportunity to do that on Wednesday, June 17th and July 15th from 9 to 12. We'll be at the Cascade Township offices. And on Wednesday, June 24th and July 22nd from 5 to 7 here at the Wisner Center. Those are both before board meetings. So I encourage anyone that has questions to come out and speak with myself or with the planning staff. if they have questions or need clarification, or just want to understand what the language is and what the proposed is versus the old. And with that, if there's any questions on that, please let me know.
Thank you. Board comments. Trustee Shipley?
Always. Thanks for coming out, folks. Appreciate it. Whether you're currently a Cascade resident, former Cascade resident, appreciate all your comments. Mrs. Grozier, Josh, Nick, Ken times two. And appreciate all that. Thanks to Kent County Sheriff Department. You heard one of the programs that's current, and that's the upgrade for the safety network. We heard last month about the new warning system that's going to be upgraded that is more specific towards is that hazardous weather in the north part of Kent County, Cascade, south part of Kent County. So overall, the residents of this township are being well served, and that's the way they should be. Let's see, program updates, upgrades, fantastic. And I know 3 different families who have gotten the little notices in their mailboxes, and they've engaged in some of those programs that you're providing through Kent County library system. So nice job. And that's all I have to say.
Nordic?
Just 2 quick things. Jade, my compliments to the Parks team. I've received it. And Lulu, I'm just so impressed by you, the passion you bring to the job, your team. It's just so wonderful, and I love it. I hope you speak to us more, because I think you bring such a positive energy to this room. So thank you for everything you do on behalf of the township, for our library. You're just awesome.
Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. I'd like to reach out to, or give a mention to Director Zwick. He took care of a matter that a resident had brought to my attention, forwarded it to him. Anytime I have those communications with staff, I try to highlight it. If I forget one, somebody, I apologize. And then maybe we should adopt a camera use policy as far as for comments here, maybe for having staff review something before somebody puts it up there. I'm not really worried about what Scott was going to show, because I trust that he has proper judgment in that, but I think that if it's not part of our presentation and staff hasn't reviewed it, maybe it, I don't know, just something to think about, Jade, in the future. And then normally I wouldn't use this spot to talk about personal matters, but I will just say that I was approached by somebody to purchase property, and I have not sold my property, nor have I signed a purchase agreement, so a decision has not been made there yet. And I am not part of the township's data center subcommittee, nor have I attended any of those meetings. So that's all I have to say.
Nordic?
I don't know if there's a violation of your campaign finance, but this is getting really close. This is Cascade Township resources being used and Cascade Township buildings being used for the August 4 vote. This is a little dicey. Whether it's a violation or not, it's getting close. Because the other side's not going to be able to use the Cascade Township buildings, and they're not going to be able to use your printer. So I think what is fair for one side is fair for the other side. That's just a comment. Now, as far as Scott selling land, he's an American citizen. If he wants to sell land to somebody, he can. You just heard there's no contract, so hurry up and get one in. You can buy it. I'm sure he'll sell it for the right amount of money. That's all I have to say.
I don't mind.
In other news, absentee ballots are going to be in-house. End of next week, they will be starting to be processed and sent out last week of June, so we get very busy in the office. Just wanted to let everyone know.
To your comment, I think it's completely inappropriate that just because you voted no for something, that the township can't, you think it's a violation for them to educate the public and our residents who might have questions on the factual basis of what's in the zoning. If this table was turned and you were for it, you would think that is appropriate. And even if I was against it, I would think it's appropriate, because if I was against it, I would want people that I spoke to be able to go speak to staff to understand what I'm opposed to make sure that I am correct and that that is in the zoning. And by withholding that information and making generalizations to the public that are not true and not in the zoning, and the fact that you don't want staff to be able to educate staff or residents on what really is on the zoning is completely despicable. I'm embarrassed for you to even say that. This is purely for residents. This is not about what I want, what you want, what she wants, what he wants, what she wants, what he wants, what he wants. All this is for the residents that have heard rumors, because in our last work sessions in the fall, the room was full of people who had heard rumors or stuff on Facebook, and they wanted to come and clarify whether what they heard was true or not. So the fact that you think that's wrong to provide education to our residents on what's in this zoning is embarrassing for you.
I'm just saying this is close to a campaign violation. Go down to the Kent County Clerk if you've got a big problem with it.
This is my, no, I'm not done, Timmy. You're done. This is my comment time. The fact you think you're funny about this is, again, an embarrassment for you. You keep telling your lies to people, and maybe you should bring these flyers to people and say, listen, this is what's in the zoning. Here, go ask staff about it. You're afraid that people are going to come and ask questions and find out you're lying to people about what's in there. That's the problem, Timmy. It's not about what's right for the residents. It's about what's telling the truth. That's what this is about.
Mr. Smith, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. I know this is out of order and not normal, but I just need to make sure that I clarify the township staff's position on this. This is, as it says on this flyer, an unbiased opportunity for residents to come in, businesses to come in and ask questions. There could be good things about the new zoning, there could be bad things about the new zoning, good things about the old zoning, bad things about the old zoning. We are not taking a position during any of this. This is purely to ask the questions, or to answer the questions of the residents. You would be amazed at any time there's a local ballot question, the calls that are received at a city hall or a township hall to understand or to ask questions. And this is very similar to, we didn't hold open houses, but we took them on the road. But when the fire millage and the library millage were being passed 2 years ago, we conducted the same type of things. We had I didn't bring it with me, but the flyer for the fire millage was full of FAQs, what it was going to do financially for the residents, how it would affect the residents, what the new millage rate was, what it would mean if it didn't pass, what it would mean if it did pass. So this is in no way different than that, and actually probably there's less of a position being taken on this. Clearly, I think the township financially makes out when a millage is passed because it allows us to offer more services. This is truly an opportunity for the residents to come in and just ask the questions and get clarification. If there is concern about this from the board and the majority of the board says we do not want to do this, then you can direct me to not do this and we will cancel all of them. But this is an opportunity that we have got together as staff with the planning department and decide was the best way forward. And I can answer any questions in regards to that. And if there's anything that's you see that's leading on this, I would surely like to hear those comments.
Given the close, so Supervisor Westbrook's here, given the scrutiny by those leading the referendum to get the zoning on the ballot, we have been running everything by legal counsel. The issue is not whether it's appropriate to have an open house about the new zoning, it's how it's done, and staff is being very careful to, This is just about facts, questions and facts. What the current zoning has, what the new zoning has. I want to speak really quickly about, I've heard from 3 different residents that the new zoning is being passed because of, to bring in low-income housing. It's a blatant lie. There's nothing in the new zoning about low-income housing. It's a blatant lie to oppose the new zoning. And the troubling thing is that the residents who had heard that from somebody else, this was, 2 of them were realtors, actually thought it was true. So if it took $99,000 for GRAR and the Michigan Realtors Association to get enough signatures just to get it on the ballot, and $9,000, over $9,000 to pay a professional marketing firm, and this is just to get enough signatures to put the issue on the ballot, how much are those same people going to spend to get people to vote against it? And then you have to ask yourselves why. And it's unfortunate that it's come to this, and it's easy to have sound bites and to go down different rabbit holes, but money truly is the root of all evil, and what it's doing to this board on this zoning issue is a perfect example. Scott, you sat in 21 plus meetings to come up with the new zoning. We were all generally on the same page, and the unanimous agreement is that the current zoning that was last passed in 1989 is broken. There's contradictions, there's loopholes, there's many reasons, and we've known since I became supervisor, we knew that the zoning was needing to be updated. And what's happening now is a good example, and it wasn't divisive like this until the rumors and the money came in. And what truly is debatable and reasonable people can disagree is it's about density. People who are worried that they want to be able to build more homes and split more lots and have density east of Buttrick on that remaining rural area. I personally disagree with that. I think it should be preserved, but it's a fair debate. And then the village, the restrictiveness in the village, what they're saying, the investor who's spreading that, all the concerns in the village is angry, and I spoke to him at length at a public open house, because he wants to put in that Foaling Chowhound Dollar Tree Plaza a drive-through. The 2 examples he used were Chick-fil-A or Raising Cane's, or a large-scale apartment complex, and the example he used was the Knolls off Spalding in just on the other side of Ada Township. And this only applies to that tiny village area of Old 28th and from the river down to 28th Street, but that was because the reason for making that 35-foot limitation, and you can't combine lots to make really big buildings, and the first floor remaining commercial to preserve local businesses is exactly because the #1 priority that residents expressed during the strategic plan was to have a more walkable village area. So it's just important that people pay attention, and it's unfortunate that what was being said to get the zoning passed isn't actually true, because the big thing they said was no data center protection or data center blind spots. That's not true. We proactively did that. And so if you want to be honest and have a conversation, that's one thing, but when you're spending $115,000 and you're not even able to say the real reasons why you oppose it, I hope that residents are paying attention, because money talks, and they've got a lot of money. It's too bad for this board, because I respect all of you, and I think we all want generally the same thing, and I think we all agree that if it is voted down and we're stuck with a broken, dysfunctional zoning ordinance, that it's just what the issue is and what's being talked about are 2 different things. So that's it for public comments. Jake, I'm sorry, Scott, go ahead.
There's rebuttal.
It wasn't a rebuttal, I was just gonna make the comment that.
We can't do this.
Okay.
I'm not being rude, but we're talking about public comments. We don't do a comment yet. Motion to adjourn.
Are you asking me? Okay.
Support.
So motion by Treasurer Corsange, supported by Trustee Rissi to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Like Timmy's comment of 22 units per acre zoning. next door.
I don't know, I'm looking at signed agreements from the Lowell agenda with Mr. Rissi's signatures on them.